I want to cross to the exam rubric because obviously it's yet to be put up on the Border Studies site, but I've taken the one from the area of study when it was belonging. So let's look at the three aspects. Demonstrate understanding of the concept of discovery in the context of your study. That's fairly easy. So in other words, you need to think of all those things I've just talked about in terms of discovery. The catalysts, the ramifications, the process of it. So once you've understood the concept of discovery, you really have to think about the way it's represented in text. And that's actually where your understanding is going to come from. And lastly, you have to be able to express your ideas clearly, using a language appropriate to audience, purpose, and context. That last dot point is in every module rubric for any essay, and it simply means you answer the question. And not only do you answer the question well, but you actually use the ideas that you should be using in terms of you express your ideas in terms of discovery. So it's about your understanding. So you need to think after you've studied your text, and hopefully a lot of extracts in terms of discovery, what are three overarching ideas or theses? Theses are points of view. Have you developed after exploring a range of texts and considering your own experiences and perceptions in regards to discovery? This is going to be the hard part. This is probably what if you're doing area of study now, you're probably just starting to arrive at. But I'm going to remind you again, ask what you've learned about the human experience. It's going to be so easy if you do that. If you try and just keep it remote and in the world of a text, especially if it's a text from a number of years ago. If it's The Tempest, it's a long time ago. Robert Gray, you're looking at the 70s into the 80s. You need to ask this. What does it tell me about me? What does it tell me about human beings? So you need at least 3 to 4 overarching theses or points of view. Now the interesting thing is, this is going to apply for all sections of paper 1. It's not just the essays you might think. In fact, when you write your creative writing, you should have an overarching message, point of view or thesis. What is it you're trying to say? What message are you conveying? So it's a synthesis of all the ideas you've gathered about discovery through your experience of text, whether it's through extracts, your prescribed text, or your own wide reading of text. So if you're going to develop your own ideas, your points of view about discovery, and you're going to ask what it is about the human condition, let's just take a backward step. I want you to imagine that when you're with your friends, someone tells you something you'd rather not have heard. It might have been something you did that was silly. You might have said something you didn't mean on Facebook. And suddenly it's exposed, everyone's discovered it. For you, it's challenging and provocative. For the rest of them, they're actually finding it really challenging too, and maybe they've judged you incorrectly or judged you poorly. But what is next is the most important thing that happens. It's how you respond. It's the ramifications of discovery. For example, if you've said something inappropriate about a friend you didn't mean to, do you then find that person and reconcile? Do you seek, forgiveness from them and move forward in your friendship? Or in fact, do you get really stubborn and you deny it and you say, I didn't say that, someone must have done that on Facebook, someone's used my login. And what happens is you learn nothing and you don't move forward. There's no transformation of the self, because let's face it, we are incredibly flawed. And that's what most of your composers look at. They look at the beautiful nuances of what makes us human and how we respond to things that we are curious about, that we mightn't like discovering, or we uncover, or we rediscover. And what happens next is what becomes important in text and in your own writing. It's what we do as a result of that discovery.